Hello, everybody, and hello, everyone. If you're new here, just go down below, subscribe to the channel. We do educational things. We talk about history, but we also talk about social issues and my personal experiences sometimes. This is going to be another conversation, as you can see, with the lofi beats going in. I always get lofi beats from other creators, so I always make sure that I mention them in my description box, so you can go and see them. But my music is always obtained from copyright-free sources. So to start off, let me tell you a little bit about my life. I'm in the middle of my exams currently, and I haven't had the time to really script and make videos. But after completing my final rounds of revisions today, I received a lot of texts from a lot of people saying how they were perhaps bored or did not want to continue or give exams. And a thought popped into my head. In today's society, why is school and education in school considered boring, a burden, or even a redundancy in our generation? Why is it an undesirable thing in our society? Why is it something that that today's youth are distancing themselves from and consider it as a uncool thing, or something that is not perhaps not what they want to do? To start off, the French philosopher Henri Lefebvre first developed his conceptualization on sociology of boredom, stating that things that are seen, done, or used regularly lose their nostalgia or their aesthetic purpose. And in modern times, we can see this, as boredom can be categorized as an emotion through which a person slowly but surely loses interest in a socio-cultural change, a responsibility, or a duty perhaps. You may feel privileged to go to a very prestigious institution when you go to that institution, but maybe a year in, you feel it was no different than the previous school you went to. But once you are suspended from that very prestigious education or institution, you return to your previous school, you feel the effects and the privileges and the advantages you had there, and your conscience, which previously had no purpose to be activated, is activated. Boredom has to do with why school is viewed as unnecessary among today's youth, among today's generation, because it is something that they are considered or called upon to do so every time. Whereas a child who has never received any sort of formal education, maybe a child who is very unprivileged, may perceive this as a privilege, as an opportunity that he might not have gotten before. Henry said that under particular circumstances, boredom can be full of desires, frustrations, and even possibilities. This is seen as youth who do not wish to continue higher education, go to universities or colleges, constantly venture to other fields, creative fields for employment, which again, if they want to do so, they can. Social pressure, peer pressure, and pop culture are also play a very vital role and given a very strong hand to the perception that school is not needed in today's society, where social media influencers and social media celebrities and even traditional celebrities, film stars and singers who have dropped out of school or college encourage their followers to do so. Now, one thing I want to make clear as a footnote is that you need to, if you want to drop out of school, there needs to be a purpose. There needs to be a purpose for which you're dropping out. Do you want to be an artist? Yeah, drop out. Do you want to go into fashion or photography or something that is perhaps not inside of your inside your traditional textbooks, then go ahead. But when people are motivated to drop out just because of the sheer fact of dropping out with no reason, just because of the fact that they want to with no reason, that is where the wrong thing happens. Continuing, this passes the questions, the thing in question, school in question, as bland, as mundane, as a unnecessarily tiring thing. According to the 2011 census, people who had some form of higher education tended to earn 76% more than their counterparts, the people who had not gone to higher schools, universities and colleges. But these points are not taken into account when a student concludes school. And this is important. And a person who wants to drop out does not take such statistics and already proven points into consideration before doing so. Selection, and these people, these students, these children fall victim to selection bias. Selection bias in sociology is when a small minority of people, in this case film stars and singers and social media influencers, provoke the majority of people, 96% or 99% of people, of their achievement, of their success, of their accomplishments, to prompt the majority to follow in their footsteps, which has been proven that for the most part does not give success, not at all. The youth, largely due to the prevalence and circulation of social media, hear stories of a select few people, of a small group of people, very small group of people. For example, a high school dropout billionaire may provoke you to believe that high school or university is not important, but people who are in serious debt after dropping out of school and cannot pay their bills because they simply do not have the points of employment to do so, they are not telling you their success stories. And that is what is the thing. When a person becomes really successful in something, Leonardo da Vinci can tell you that everybody can become a painter because he is the greatest painter. But a painter who lives dollar to dollar, coin to coin, who feeds hand to mouth, is not telling you that everybody can become a painter, or not encouraging that everybody can become a painter, because he knows how hard that field of profession is, which is what is very often ignored when this is considered and gone into account. Though hearing the stories of a billionaire may provoke a young person to drop out, the judgment often overlooks the underside that university has shown more success to more people in larger numbers for a longer time, which is enough to prove that if you do not have a purpose to drop out, then don't. One more thing that is not foreseen by the youth is that very often it is easier for students to drop out of educational institutions if they live in the first world. The same decision does not fare well on a second or a third world pupil. For example, a person in India or a person in Ghana or perhaps Nigeria may not have the same opportunity to become successful after dropping out as a person in the US or the UK or France may have. The insurance and notion that success in the traditional sense can be achieved without higher education in undeveloping and underdeveloped countries is one with an astronomically minuscule possibility. And that is not to say that one should be pressured to continue higher education, but simply to inspect with more precise concentration what they have left behind when they prefer not to proceed. Are you really weighing in the pros and cons of what you may lose, what paths you may lose, because you are continuing, because you are not continuing? Have you weighed those? Have you weighed the questions? Have you weighed the answers? And then are you saying that you don't want to do this? Because this is the first real life decision that students, adolescents, and adults take. Algerian sociologist Jacques Derrida wrote in a letter that perhaps to skip something does not come from a place of uninterest or apathy, but more so from the insecurity to protect or defend one's act of procrastination or ignorance to that particular thing. Maybe a student, for example, does not want to continue because they cannot commit or devote the time and hard work required for school, but do it more so because they simply want to defend their actions of not doing so. Now, if you are in your job and you are working really hard and you are succeeding, you will not get fired from your job, and you will not, first of all, you won't get fired from your job, and you also won't say that, oh, I want to leave this job, because that job is exactly what you want. You are succeeding in that field. But if you are not hardworking and you are not putting in the effort, then of course you will complain and you will moan that that job is not rewarding. According to Socrates, if people knew what was the right thing to do, they would simply do it, but they are not in a place or aware enough to do so. That is exactly what is the point. If you do not weigh the this and that, you do not know what path you are leaving behind, then there is no purpose. In philosophy, ignorance may be classified into 3 types: factual ignorance, object ignorance, and /or technical ignorance. Factual ignorance is a dominating factor in why students may be interested to drop out, as factual ignorance forms when a person does not have the knowledge to do something. It could be object ignorance, which is the stereotypical exhibition of ignorance in film and TV, when a person detaches oneself from an object, thing, or responsibility. But very often, the decision to drop out roots from technical ignorance. This is when a person detaches oneself from an object, thing, or responsibility when they do not have the factual knowledge to sustain its responsibilities. According to Aristotle, ignorance is in the major premise results in an evil act, but ignorance in the minor premise results in an involuntary act. And I would like to stress again, ignorance of the minor premise results in an involuntary. Stress on the involuntary act. So before taking this step, one should weigh in the this and that before doing so. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you if you have stayed around to the end. Thank you so much.